All right, welcome to another edition of the Second Half Draft Show. I am your host, Juice, joined by Drew this evening. We're going to keep it going. We mentioned it last week. We're going to keep it going here with our way too early 2025 mock drafts, but not actually our way too early 2025 mock draft, but we're going to actually mock some mocks that are already out there from a couple of the national scouts, some favorites of ours. Last week we covered Walter Football, and friend of the show, Damian Parson of the NFL Draft Network, Locked On Podcast Network, their mock drafts. This evening, we're going to review Jordan Reed's mock draft as well as a mock draft from PFF. I'm not sure who wrote it. I'll have to double check. But Jordan Reed, NFL draft analyst for ESPN. We actually had an opportunity to meet Jordan Reed a few years ago. I think at that time, he may have still been with the Draft Network, but certainly he's all over the place now as it relates to the NFL draft for ESPN. So we'll get some insight here, get a sense of what he's thinking early in the process, right? Very early, obviously way too early for the 2025 mock draft. So let's get into Jordan Reed's 2025 mock draft here. All right. What's happening, D-Kid? This is, this is this D-Kid's favorite part of the process, right? Once the season's over, D-Kid's like, you know what? Like, he's ready for it to just happen. But this is his favorite part here as we're going through and entering summer scouting. With Jordan Reed and his mock draft, this should actually interest you quite a bit here, D-Kid, if you haven't seen it thus far. He has the Giants moving up to select Carson Beck. So D-Kid made no secret of it. He coveted Michael Penix Jr. with the 6th overall pick. Ultimately, the Giants went with Malik Neighbors. So in this particular mock draft, in the 2025 class, we're anticipating they move on from Daniel Jones, right? It's more palatable in terms of the cap penalty that would accrue. And a lot of people, not D-Kid, obviously, based on this comment, but a lot of people believe Carson Beck is the top quarterback prospect at this juncture in the process. Now, there's a lot of football still to be played. There's quite a few guys that could potentially work their way into that conversation in terms of the top quarterback. This isn't a Caleb Williams situation, right? As much as the prognosticators tried to make a case for other guys, even with Jaden Daniels having a phenomenal season in his own right, I don't think it was really truly ever in question in terms of who the top quarterback was going to be. All things considered, this year there's going to be a bit more volatility throughout the process. I think there's going to be a bit more volatility. I don't think we have a consensus number one in this class at all. And like I said, there's a lot of football still to be played here to determine who the top quarterback is. But Timothy is a Jordan fan, as you can see in his avatar there. Carson Beck is a Jared Goff comp. You know what? I like Jared Goff. I like Jared Goff coming out, and shout out to Jared Goff. Jared Goff gets the big deal here in Detroit. I think he's the right man for the job. I like the way he is bounced back. There's some things about Carson Beck's game, and I want to get your thoughts on him, Drew. I want to get your thoughts on him based on what you've seen, whether it be your actual film study or just watching SEC football last year. What were your impressions of Beck?
Yeah, he's gonna be essentially what he does is where Georgia goes, I think.
Sure.
Big time, because like I spoke about last week in terms of there is no more the guy. Who's the guy that got drafted that's gone now? The tight end, what's his name? Yeah, he's out of there. Brock Bowers. So there is no more of that. So what will that offense look like, right? I know it's probably going to go. They're obviously going to continue to run the football like they've been doing for the past, since Kirby Smart's been there. But it is really and truly going to be the Carson Beck show, So we're going to see what it looks like. You had talked about, a couple quarterbacks that like this is not, again, a Caleb Williams situation. You got Cam Ward, for the U. You got Quentin Ewers for Texas. You obviously got Carson Beck here. I'm missing one. Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. So there's quite a few guys who are going to be challenging for that number one spot, but we're going to go where Carson Beck goes, man. I know he has the ability to move in the pocket to make things happen. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Stetson Bennett when it comes to that. When it's not there, he's out, bro. And he's going to get what's there. You turn your back to the defense, he's going to run it out. But I want to know what it looks like when he doesn't have a superstar there to help him in terms of a one and all weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are we going to get the ball out on time and deliver it to those receivers, those running backs, those tight ends, or you know, I'm just interested to see what it looks like. But yeah, I don't know about they giving him kind of a lot of love, and the Giants to trade up to go and get Carson Beck. That's a lot, bro. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Well, like you said, I think we still need to see more from him in order to say unequivocally he's the top quarterback in this class. I think he certainly got better throughout the course of the season. I really thought he improved as the season went along, as did the Georgia team. I mean, they managed to win games throughout the season, right? They lost once, but if I'm not mistaken, was it twice or once? Timothy, fact check me on that one, but they got better as the season went along. That's why they were right there on the cusp of being in the college football playoff and it all. But you know, there's some things that he needs to work on. There's some things that he needs to work on. As Timothy mentioned, missed a lot of deep balls last season. I thought the things that they really liked about him was the ability to kind of find those secondary windows across the middle of the field. And I think a lot of NFL scouts, they look at guys who are able to effectively push the football down the field in the middle of the field, inside the hashes, when it gets a little bit more cluttered and that field vision, right? And understanding, touchdown, first down, check down, right? And being able to get the ball in between defenders and zones and so on and so forth, anticipate guys coming open and that type of thing. And I think he flashed there. I think that's probably what excites people the most about what he did last year. He was trending upwards, right? And Reed mentions it here in his write-up in terms of the fact that he completed 72% of his passes and he was trending up in terms of like a top 50 prospect. So again, I get why people like it, but you're right. You're right. That cupboard, although I'm sure Georgia will be talented, they're going to be inexperienced. They're going to be untested, a lot of these younger players. I think they brought in Kobe Young via transfer from Miami. Big target. 2 seasons ago, he looked like he might be a guy. Last year, he took kind of a backseat, was kind of the third option in the passing game. We'll see. We'll see if he becomes more prominent here in Georgia. But I'm not ready to say Carson Beck's the top quarterback. I'm still on the Shedeur train in terms of just what's between the ears with him and what's beating in his chest. You understand what I'm saying? As far as the heart, in terms of the toughness, the ability to continue to carry his team at times. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of put it on his right arm. So I'm still leaning towards Shedeur at this juncture, but Carson Beck's going in the first round. I don't see a scenario where he won't be going in the first round for sure. And D-Kit mentioned as well, the backfield. And again, like I said, Georgia has a tendency to have great running backs regardless, right? And they do kind of a committee approach there these days. So I'm not terribly concerned about that. I think in terms of the offensive line, you lose your pivot. Amarius Mims, is a first-round pick, albeit he didn't play a ton of snaps. So you got some new faces, new bodies going to be there. So there's some adjustments that obviously have to happen here. And like you said, it's going to be the Carson Beck show. So we'll see if he's up to snuff here. He's up to the task. With the second overall pick, Mr. Reed has the Washington Commanders selecting Michael Williams, the edge out of Georgia. And Andrew, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, that man's violent, quick, fast, and in a hurry. He's a guy who didn't get too much run. He started to come on later in the season. You saw him, I think it was dominated. I mean, everybody dominated for Georgia in that FSU game. So there's going to be a lie here. I guess they're saying he's edge one. That's a lie. He's not edge one, not yet. I don't think he played enough football to put him at edge one. But
sure,
hey, anything could happen, man. I'll say this: it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up being edge one, because I think all the talent, the size, all those things are there that you want from the position. But my edge is going to be a dual Carter. I'm just saying. But Washington has to replenish that defensive line. Obviously, losing Chase Young and you can't pay everybody that's on that defensive line. So this isn't a bad choice in terms of who we think could be one of the top edge in Michael Williams from Georgia.
Yeah, when I watch him on tape, I see a player that just brings a certain level of physicality you don't see with a lot of the edges in this class, right? You know, you mentioned Abdul Carter. He plays with a certain level of violence, right? It's all fast and violent, right? But just in terms of just the stout physicality at the point of attack, it's very early in the process, right, in terms of my evaluations, but I just haven't seen anybody quite like Mykel Williams from that perspective, right? They can't move him, bro. They can't move him, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's not a full-time player yet. He's still a very young player. I think he's 19 years old. Like he's still developing. There's no question about him. But just the physicality, the strength at the point of attack, you know, his ability to hold up, you know what I'm saying, and really contain guys. You know, I think in terms of change of direction, I need to see more. You know what I mean? That ability to consistently finish, I need to see more. But just in terms of just at the point of attack, coming off the ball, and I mean, dropping a shoulder. You know, you mentioned the FSU game, and I'm watching, and FSU likes to run this running play where they pull the backside guard and tackle. You know what I'm saying? And those guys kick out the edge, and then you got that tackle or guard serving as a lead blocker to the running back. And he was just crashing, bro. He was crashing, blowing guys up. They tried to block him in pass pro with a tight end a couple of times. It was ugly. It was ugly. The guards couldn't handle his strength. And Timothy's mentioned it right here. His wingspan, when he gets his arms extended, he's just driving the offensive lineman right back into the lap of the quarterback. So yeah, just in turn, he's like a hammer. He's absolutely like a hammer, right? When he comes into contact with offensive linemen, either there's no movement or he's driving the offensive lineman back into the quarterback. So yeah, just in terms of just raw strength, I haven't seen anybody quite like him. And of course, in an even man front, you want that at the edge position, right? You know, you could certainly get away with a guy who's real bendy and speedy off the edge, but setting that edge in the run game is very significant as well. And Mykel Williams certainly is capable of that. So we'll see. We'll see if he continues to make those incremental steps in terms of his pass rush, because I think that's what's going to be required of him. Or he does the Trayvon Walker thing and tests out of his mind. You understand what I'm saying? Right. If he does that, then of course he could be in the conversation as the first defensive player off the board. But certainly his raw strength jumps off the page to me.
Right now, we stick him out. We giving him that power edge title right now.
Yeah, he's the one. He's the one right now. He's definitely the one right now. Got the Patriots here with the 3rd overall pick, and Jordan Reed has them selecting Will Campbell out of LSU. I think Campbell is the top tackle for most folks. Where do you have him in your early evaluations among the tackles?
It's close, man. I like his movement ability when his hands matches his feet. I think he's probably the best in the country. There's a guy nipping at his heels, though. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later here. I think that might be your tackle one, but he's really, really close in Will Campbell. And Will Campbell is kind of, you know, I think he's 6'6", 3, I forget 3 something, but it's a mountain of a man. And you that big and you can move, you know, eyes open up, and, you know, I understand why he could be tackle one for some people. And he's him and his partner, the right tackle. Those guys have been ballers, or I'd say not gonna call them quite ballers, but ballers, they've been, you know,
the expectations.
Yes, there it is. Thank you. Expectations have been that, and you know, the first couple games it was rough, but you could see the talent from both those guys, and they've grown into the position. And this year, there's no excuses. I know there's no Jaden Daniels there to save you if things go awry. You know, I don't know what that's going to look like, but, you know, I think this year will be the year that we'll kind of see those guys. You'll get a full. What's the word I'm looking for here? Because there's not a quarterback like Jaden Daniels there anymore, right? So now those edge rushers can come off the edge and not have to worry about this guy taking off, right? So much. So I think it's going to be a little bit. There's going to be a different plan for the edge rushers coming off the edge for those guys. So I'm wondering how they're going to respond, and I would assume they're going to respond positively.
DK's not a fan of it thus far. You know, Will Campbell didn't allow a sack, but you wonder, to your point, Drew, how much of that was, you know, James Daniels' ability to escape, to get on the edges, to make plays with his legs. I agree in the sense that, you know, he's been impressive, right? As he's settled in, he was tasked out of the gate as a freshman, as a true freshman, right? In terms of being able to hold up at left tackle, protect Jaden Daniels' blind side. That's a tall order for a guy. I mean, obviously he's a mountain of a man, but certainly a young football player, right? Playing, major football in the SEC against some of the best talent in the country, and you stick him at left tackle, and he found his footing relatively quickly there. And again, all he's played is left tackle, right? He didn't get the treatment of going from the interior to the exterior, or maybe right tackle. He's just protected the blind side the entire time. So that in of itself is a tough, or obviously that goes to his credit. I was thinking as I'm looking at D Kit's comment here, yeah, that was baptism by fire with Jared Verse, that first game a couple seasons ago. Yep. That was baptism by fire. You know what I'm saying? So, I can appreciate the fact that Will Campbell is really battle tested, right? They put a lot on his plate very early in his career, and he's battle tested for sure. The 4th overall pick here, we got Carolina Panthers, and James Pierce Jr. is the pick out of Tennessee. And of course, we got 2 edges off the board in the first 4 selections. Of course, affecting the passer is the name of the game. Pierce, a bit more production, but Timothy made a mention of it, right? In Kirby's system, you got a lot of guys. You got a 2 deep. You got a lot of guys that you're rolling out there. So, you're not getting a ton of opportunities to get up the field and attack the quarterback. He reduces down quite a bit too, right? In like kind of a odd man front where he plays more a 4-eye and a 5 technique as well. So he doesn't get the opportunity to just come off the edge, that being Mykel Williams, like James Pierce does. What are your thoughts on Pierce?
Yeah, a little notes that I got here, man. His game is based purely off of speed. I know we had talked about it, I think, offline in terms of looking for him to get a little bit stronger, being able to hold up on the edge, especially in the run game. But they kicked him inside a couple of times from the tapes the games that I watched, playing specifically on third down and distance. I guess they're trying to see if he can cross the face of that guard with that speed that he has with the center. And I got here, appears to have speed and awareness to play in space, drop into coverage if you want to get cute. Has room to add to the frame. So I think that's the positive, right? You're saying, okay, hey, I wonder if he can hold up on the edge. How's that look? Does he have power to his game? And I think part of that, part of the positive there is he can add to his frame. I'm not sure what he's weighing in these days, or if he, gained a little muscle, whatever that looks like. But I'm looking for, more power from him, right? And I think if you got a blend of Pierce and a blend of Mykel Williams, you might have you a guy, right? So I think they might need to borrow some stuff from each other in terms of what we're going to be looking for. Maybe we're looking for the opposite, maybe from those two a little bit in terms of their game. But like you said, he was productive. He is, their best pass rusher on that Tennessee defense. So we'll see what it looks like this year, man, for sure.
Kids on the travel teams, kids on the travel teams. So he got to be there. Dad's got to be there. You understand? As it relates to Pierce, Drew, I don't have a ton to add other than the fact that you're absolutely right. Like he needs to continue to add weight, strength to that frame. I want to see the secondary and tertiary moves. Of course, there were a couple of games, namely the South Carolina game. I thought that's where you saw the full breadth of his skill set. I saw some physicality from him. I saw him make plays in the running game. I saw the speed, the power. I saw the ability to bend the edge. I saw all of it, and it was like, wow. But then when he played some of those NFL caliber offensive tackles, he was a non-factor. He was like a non-factor, and I just didn't see enough efforts and tenacity in terms of the run game either. So I wonder, and I guess that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for him to put it together. I want to see more of the James Pierce that we saw against South Carolina and Virginia, as opposed to what we saw against the likes of Alabama, for example. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to get cute with him. I would prefer that they just cut him loose. Sometimes they reduce him down as well, and he cannot play 4-eye. Not at this time. He can't do it. He's a pure edge rusher at this point. And I really want to see him develop more of those secondary and tertiary moves when he's not been able to kind of just bend the edge and beat the tackle with the quickness. Again, where I saw the full gamut of it. It was very impressive what he did against South Carolina, but that was actually one of the worst offensive lines in the FBS. They were terrible. They were giving a short corner. Right? Yeah, it was, you got to put things in its proper context, as you mentioned. But again, it was really encouraging because you saw everything. It wasn't just, okay, he's left unblocked, he made a play. or he's just using a great get off and speed to get around a tackle who's not quick-footed, you know what I'm saying? Kind of, got the cement blocks on his feet. No, you saw him, beat guys inside, use some power, use some leverage as well. So that was encouraging. I just need to see it more, and I need to see it against better competition from him. No worries, Mr. C. Prassi. You're just in time, man.
You wonder, as you were saying, in terms of him playing and going against that South Carolina offensive line. So when you're not having success, do you turn it up? Do you turn it down, or you turn it off?
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
So, what does that look like? And I'm sorry to be on the edge. It's got to be on at all times, man. All times. Yeah. So
I'm with you there. That's something to keep an eye on.
To check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely something to keep an eye on there. It's a great point. 5th overall, we have the Raiders trading up to get their quarterback. Right? Yeah. So the Giants do it at the top, and now the Raiders with Shedeur.
Yeah, that's the ice in the veins right there, man. And this might be one of those where every time you see a mock draft, this might be the pick, right? Because I think these are one of the teams that maybe I misread it or misheard something. One of the teams that he may not mind going to, right? Because there is word that we're not playing for specific teams in the league, which I respect. But I guess if you got the cachet and the cojones to do that, do what you do. But yeah, man, I just want to see what it looks like when he don't have to play catch up all the time, or don't have to play. We got to score every time we get the football. Like, I want him to be able to play in a game. Maybe the game is close, but it's a lower scoring game. And see how he comes on top, because I think second half of the games is where Shedeur lives, right? Yeah. Come up fast in the first half and kind of maintain and do what you do in the second half and put it all together, versus trying to hang on in the first half, wake up and hang on in the first half, and then gotta be that guy, Jesus Christ walking on water in the second half, right? You're on mute.
I'm on mute. You got to be a deity to keep your team in the game. You know what I'm saying? Because, your defense is a swinging gate. I'm with A1. I'm with A1 on this one. Like, I Adams, Myers, Bowers,
come on,
add a back to that mix. Like, I'm telling you.
Boys.
Yeah, man. I would be excited to see Shedeur in the silver and black for sure. I hear you, D-Kid. I'm with you, but they love Carson Beck. They love Carson Beck, man. I'm telling you. I think there's redeeming qualities in Carson Beck. I saw enough last year to say, okay, all right, let me just see it again. Let me see a little bit more. It's a different set of circumstances now. In the case of Shedeur, we're anticipating a better offensive line. We're anticipating a more competent defense in year 2 here in Colorado. So, Shedeur's going to have an opportunity to make his case to be the first quarterback off the board for sure, right? Whereas with Georgia, yes, we expect them to just reload, because Kirby Smart has done a remarkable job of recruiting and then, of course, developing said talent. In the case of Colorado, Prime gets another year of recruiting, transfer portal, getting his players, getting guys who are actually ready for, prime time, group, not group of 5, but it's 4 conferences now. This Power 4 now. Football. Now. You know what I'm saying? And competent offensive line play and defense. Complementary. Shedeur is that talented, right? Yeah. He makes guys better. If you could be a little bit more complimentary around it, I think that's going to help his case. A lot of, the analysts will say, wins aren't a quarterback stat. It doesn't hurt, man, in terms of your evaluation, in terms of your how you're viewed ultimately. Being able to win those games in crunch time, despite how you're playing, come away with those wins, certainly helps your case. So, yeah, I like the idea of Shedeur in Vegas. And as you mentioned, I think they'd be comfortable. His team, his family would be comfortable with Antonio Pierce here in Las Vegas. With the 6th overall pick, as well as the 7th here, we're going to just go over the next 2. Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Broncos and Will Johnson to the Cardinals. Let's talk about Kelvin Banks Jr., Drew.
Yeah, that's your guy, bro. You know. I mean, that's
I was gonna give you an opportunity. I was gonna give you an opportunity to talk about him, bro. You know.
Nah, so when I watch him, man, listen, I'm watching him. I'm like, first couple reps, I'm like, this might be tackle one. Like, just his ability to get his hands on the edge or tap whomever it is, it's a wrap. It is over. And I don't mean like over as in like no. I do mean over as in there is no way in hell they're not even close to the quarterback. It's just done, right? But then I watch a couple more reps, and then I see him kind of leaning head over his knees, falling to the ground. And I think a little bit of that is just being a little too aggressive. He looks to be, and I'm not sure, and these are the things I don't know, right? Is he looks to be long enough because he get out there, he kind of reach guys before they ever even be able to get a punch out to him. But then I see him kind of leaning and reaching and missing, and I'm like, what's the issue here? Like you just did something so clean and smooth 2 plays prior, and now 3 plays in a row, it looks like you struggling, right? So I'm not sure what the problem is, and I think I'm going to go back and watch a little bit more tape because the reps that he won a lot of, they were short sets. So I don't know if they were protecting him a little bit. I'm not sure. Maybe that game he was injured, so maybe I need to do a little bit more research into him. But if he can do what he was doing in the first couple reps that I watched and through the game, you saw those same kind of reps in terms of just stymieing folks and those guys not even being a factor from the snap, then it's easily offensive tackle one. Easily.
Yeah, he's certainly the top tackle in my eyes entering the season, as the kid agrees from that perspective. I think obviously when we talk about offensive tackles, we tend to put a lot of focus on their pass protection. That's the name of the game. That's how points are scored through the passing game. Keep your quarterback upright, but he's a beast in terms of the run blocking too, bro.
Yeah.
He's a beast, bro. And I think the technical refinement will come with better coaching. He's in Texas, man. Go ahead and get with Big Duke.
Yeah,
with Duke Manyweather, get it cleaned up. Yeah. Get it cleaned up and call it a day. This is another guy who was thrust into that role as a left tackle as a very young player coming out of high school and has given up 2 sacks across 2 seasons. Like, that's dominance, bro. That's dominance. So we'll see. We'll see if his arms do measure in shorter. So, we talked about Troy Fautano in the 2024 class, and people were talking about, well, he could be a center or a guard and this, that, and the other, and they were concerned about his arm length, and lo and behold, his arms are longer than Fuaga's. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what is it that you're seeing that isn't? So there may be some technical things that he needs to clean up. Not overwhelming. Not, we need to overhaul his pass set, his vertical set. We need to. It's nothing like that. It's just about that weight distribution. It's balance. It's honing in on the little things. You understand what I'm saying? So get in with Duke Manyweather and call it a day, man. That's the way I see it. But yeah, Kelvin Banks is my top tackle in the 2025 class at this juncture. Will Johnson, this is certainly a position of need here in Arizona, although they've thrown some good names at it over the last couple of seasons, last couple of drafts in the middle rounds, right? They could have gone earlier, but they're kind of working from, front to back here in terms of their defense. But Will Johnson, he's arguably the top cornerback in this class. Is he the top corner in this class for you, Drew?
You haven't made that decision yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't made it because obviously it's 3 guys. I'm gonna throw my guy in there. Jabbar Muhammad. I'm gonna put him in there. Gotta have him in there. But the other 2 obviously is Will Johnson and Travis Hunter. So I'm not sure who I got. It's tough. Will Johnson, he has that click and close.
Drew. Chat, let me know. Did Drew freeze for you guys? Let me know. He froze for me. Okay. All right. So it is Drew. We'll see if we can get Drew back. We'll see if we can get him back. You know, DK, you mentioned Will Johnson, him being cornerback 2 in this particular class, assuming Quinyon goes first overall. I wouldn't have ruled it out, him being the top cornerback in this past class, just because of the pedigree, right? You know, you could certainly make the argument that Quinyon's a better corner, better prospect, but just in terms of the pedigree, the fact that Wolverines had a dominant defense, he's a highly rated player that has done everything and just checked all the boxes. He certainly could have been the top corner taken in the 2024 class. I kind of want to see, in his case, I want to see some of those big boy matchups once again. You know what I mean? It was kind of a heavyweight fight in terms of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Will Johnson when they did match up. But a more polished route runner can get the best of Will Johnson. You know what I'm saying? He's such a specimen. He's 6'2", 200 pounds or so, thereabouts. He runs well. He's technically sound, but I've seen the really polished route runners get the best or better of him more often than I would like. And you're not going to win every rep. So I want to see him continue to take those steps. Exactly with the Odunze matchup. I want to see him take that step, take his game to another level. I think he's certainly capable of it. No touchdowns allowed in his coverage, just 14 catches. But you have to look beyond the catches. You have to look at the routes where the ball doesn't necessarily come his way. Now, that's obviously a win for the defense. But certainly, in those routes, you can see him get beaten at times, get a bit off balance. So he's going to go high. I do expect him to be a top 10, top 12 pick in this class. How he performs in the 2024 college football season is going to determine how high he goes. Whether or not he's actually the top cornerback in the class, that remains to be seen. I think same thing with Quinyon, right? We didn't necessarily see it coming out. Let me put that in perspective. I didn't see that coming. But by the end of my evaluation, he had solidified himself as cornerback 1 for me. So there could be some other guys that move up. I know Drew's a huge fan of Jabbar Muhammad, as am I. I think they're in about the same space. We'll see who separates from who. And then of course you got Hunter from Colorado. He might be part of that conversation as well. Or rather, he should be part of that conversation as well. All right. So I stalled long enough. I think we got Drew back. Drew, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right.
Okay. I don't. The blue screen came up, bro. The little barcode said we got to restart your system. Huh? What happened? All right, where was I talking? Will Johnson? What's the last thing y'all heard?
You might have ran a little hot there. Your computer may ran a little hot there. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, you gotta make sure that the fan is not encumbered. You know what I'm saying? So you can run and cool your device down. Man.
I clean it routinely, man. But yeah, Will Johnson, man. Gotta stop watching. Oh, come on, man. About to go down the road.
Oh, man. You know what?
Kids watch the show.
If he can keep his head on straight, yeah.
That was a great pickup.
He just got to keep his head on straight. That's the thing there. All right. And any final thoughts here on Will Johnson, Drew?
No, I mean I like it for the Cardinals, man. He's got the nice hips, click and close. I think he's the entire package from the corner position, willing to come up and stick his head in there in the run game. I like the fit here for Arizona. He's top 3 corner, man, for sure. The question always going to be this year is if he's corner 1, right? So might be what kind of corner you like. That may be how it comes down to. So.
And Jordan Reed mentions it here in his write-up on Will Johnson. The comparisons to PS2. What do you think?
Oh,
I can't do it.
Really,
I can't do it.
So
similar frame,
yes,
and
yes.
there are elements of the game, but I guess comparing them is reasonable. I just like PS2
Right.
more. Put it that way.
Yeah. I'm with you. But yeah,
And
it's
that's coming out of Bama. That's coming out of Bama.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That isn't current day Bronco PS2, but coming out of Bama.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's round out this top 10 here. We got Mason Graham to the Minnesota Vikings. They desperately need to add bodies to the interior of that defensive line, or just along the defensive line in general. Abdul Carter, top 10 pick here. So I think in a couple of the previous couple of mock drafts we looked at, Carter didn't go quite this high, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember DPs for sure, but I know in Walls of Football, Abdul Carter was not part of the conversation here in the top 10. And then Luther Burden. Interesting, the Titans going back to the receiving room, but it makes sense, right? Hopkins going into the last year of his deal. You're not sure what you're going to get from Traylon Burks, whether or not he can stay healthy. Burden and Calvin really would be a pretty impressive pair there. Let's talk about Mason Graham first. Your thoughts on him out of Michigan?
Yeah, as we talked about last week, he dominated in that college football playoff in the championship game. He showed up, showed out. Couldn't be blocked. Doesn't lose much room at the point of attack. You know, similar you were talking about Mikael Williams. Mason Graham is doing a little bit of that in the middle of defense, right, and taking on double teams. He weighs a lot more than I thought he did. I think he's 318 listed. 318. You know, and he's a big boy and he's hard to move, man. And he's got some ability to penetrate and be very disruptive up front. So, and you saw that, and I just want to see more of that. Because like I said, I necessarily didn't see it at Michigan before the college football playoff, obviously, but he turned on another gear when the playoffs started, man. He understood the assignment and what they needed from him, and he was able to do that. So, you know, I just want to see what it looks like from the beginning of the season, and all eyes are going to be on him because a lot of these mocks have him as the top defensive tackle coming off the board. So
right. Yeah, that's the question mark, right? You know, you have a really strong finish to the previous season. How do you build on that? Are you able to maintain your billing? Are you able to improve upon it, or do you kind of slide? Do you kind of fade away? So, really looking forward to see what we get as an encore from Mason Graham here in Michigan. You know, it's going to be his defense. Really, at the end of the day, because Chris Jenkins was the man coming into this season. So it's Mason Graham's defense up front there for Michigan. Abdul Carter. I know you love Abdul Carter. I know D Kit's a fan of Abdul Carter. There's a lot to like about him. You mentioned it last week. Violence is definitely the word that comes to mind. Of course, he's been playing off-ball linebacker. Didn't get a lot of true pass rush opportunities. But moving to the edge here, a la Micah Parsons, what do you think? What do you think you're going to see from him? Do you think edge is truly where he belongs? Do you think he's a better off the ball linebacker? What are your thoughts there?
So I'm kind of conflicted. You know, I got a short I want to post here. We'll post it on Twitter here at some point. But I was saying edge one. Like, I just ignored everybody else in the country. I said this guy is going to be edge one, and he didn't even play edge, right? Like, he really didn't even play edge last year. Straight up linebacker coming from that depth, and that gave him kind of an advantage. So it's, you know, when you're a little bit close to that line of scrimmage, about a step away from the guy in front of you, it's a little bit different. And as you got the offering has to be a little bit different in terms of what kind of move set or what it is that you're going to do for the guy standing in front of you versus coming from that second level. So, but he has the requisite size. He has the requisite speed. He has the quickness. He has the twitch. He has the violence to play the position. You just wonder what that looks like when you have to do it play in and play out versus that linebacker. They were kind of inside linebacker, outside linebacker. Sometimes he'd play edge, step in the A gap. He was all over the place. You know, one of his big things that when watching the tape for him is he can operate in a phone booth very, very well for his size, man.
Yes.
Make the offensive lineman make a move. He can step back, step up, step around, and the guy never touched him, right? Yeah. Or if they did, it was like they grazed him, right? And he's gone, right? And he's really, really good at, stunts and twists up front. I think he has a knack for that. I think he has an understanding for that. So, you know, we'll see what that looks like from the edge position. But I'm still leaving my edge one, man. I'm not going anywhere with it. I'm gonna roll with it because I believe in him, and he plays with that violence that we like. on the defensive side.
So obviously you lose Chop Robinson to the draft. You lose Adisa Isaac to the draft. He's a relatively early selection. Of course, Chop Robinson was a first-round pick. And you're trying to replenish, right? You're trying to replace that pass rush. Excuse me. And Manny Diaz's defense, you don't necessarily need hulking, huge edge rushers, right? You need guys who play with enough physicality, which Carter certainly does, to affect the edge, right? And affect the passer off the edge. He has the explosiveness. He has the speed. He has the twitch. I think he plays with the requisite leverage. The question really is how effective he's going to be playing edge predominantly, right? Do you take away some of his superpowers by moving him away from the second level of the defense? And of course, when you just talk about the position in a vacuum, clearly, the money speaks for itself. The contract speaks for itself, right? What NFL teams covet or what they prioritize is the edge pass rush over the off-ball linebacker. But what we talked about, yeah, man, it must have been something. It's something in the air. Something in the air. But I guess my question mark here is, can he be effective enough down in, down out as an edge? And the reason why I asked that question, one, size. Do you have the size to hold up, right? It may not be a factor. Sometimes it is a factor. So I want to see that. I want to see that. How effective can you be when you were playing, 50 snaps at linebacker, 45 snaps at linebacker. Now you're moving down to maybe 35 as an edge rusher. You know what I mean? Can you affect the game in the same type of way, the same magnitude from that perspective? And the reason why I asked that question is because I have quite a few Cowboys fans in my family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would often get into kind of debates in terms of how Micah Parsons should be deployed. I just thought in terms of what was already on the roster and just simply how effective he is as a pass rusher, he'd be better off playing more edge. But the counter argument to that is he's such a good football player just in general. I want him on the field more. So I'm going to play him at off-ball linebacker. And I'm going to pick my spots in terms of when he comes off the edge. That's my question mark, right? Is Abdul Carter an off-ball linebacker in which we pick our spots to cut him loose as an edge, a la Devin Lloyd, for example, right?
Right.
And we're actually anticipating more pass rush opportunities from Devin Lloyd in Jacksonville this year because it's kind of a superpower of his, but he don't necessarily have the size to hold up in that way. Now, I think Jacksonville has the personnel. They have the personnel to let him just rush the passer. I think they certainly have the personnel, but that's the question mark here, and that's what I want to find out on Carter. Just watching Carter, though, Carter's a bad boy. He's a bad boy. He's top 10 prospect, top 15 prospect, easily. Just looking at him from purely through the lens of an off the ball linebacker because of the way he can affect the run game, the passing game, and the thing that I really appreciate about him in terms of a linebacker, and you mentioned it, was he takes on blocks, he sheds them, he sifts through it, he can make guys miss. You know what I'm saying? And get to the ball carrier. He's always around the ball, gets his hands up in the passing lane. So, it's really going to be an evaluation to determine whether or not he should play edge, permanently, consistently, or do we moonlight at the edge rush position from time to time, but predominantly he's an off-ball linebacker. That's really the litmus test. But in terms of just ability, talent, absolutely, he's a baller.
I'm gonna say this too. I think he in terms of defenders, and I obviously haven't looked at every defender this this cycle, right? But he covers a lot of ground very quickly. Like it's alarming how much ground he can cover quickly
with bad intentions,
back, forward, left,
with bad
right,
intentions.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever it is that you're asking of him, it's with bad intentions.
Yeah.
And the Micah Parsons thing, it took me by surprise, right? I was late to the party. I'll be the first to admit it. I did not expect that level of ability in terms of just a pure edge rusher. You could see a linebacker, second level defender blitz and be effective, right? That doesn't mean you can line up at edge and consistently beat the man across from you. It doesn't mean that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to see. I want to see whether or not he can do that consistently against high-level NFL caliber prospects, right? And if that's the case, and you're an NFL team and that's where your need is, well, then you can deploy Abdul Carter as an edge rusher predominantly. Otherwise, and I'll be perfectly fine with it, I'll take him as an off-ball linebacker, and I'm going to send him every couple of series. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to send him and give him an opportunity to green dog, come off the edge. You understand? Because you don't want to take that away from him. You don't want to take that away from him. So really impressive player. We'll see how it plays out in 2024. Luther Burden, he's in the conversation in terms of receiver one in this class. I'm curious, where would you place him in the 2024 group? Very impressive receiver class, top to bottom. We know about the big three. Does he crack the big three? Is he a top 5 guy in the 2024 class? Where would you slot him? Interested to hear what the audience has to say. So comment in terms of where you would have Luther Burden in the receiving class among the 2024 prospects.
So we got Marvin Harrison, we got Rome, we got Neighbors, we got Brian Thomas. Who am I missing? See, class, I'm already putting them boys, already burying that.
So just in order, you had it was Harrison. This is the order it went in the first round: Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze, Thomas, your boy Ricky Pearsall, and then Xavier Worthy. And then right after that, you had Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Adnan Mitchell.
Easily wide receiver 4.
4. Easily.
Yeah. Just slide him in.
Yeah. Push Brian Thomas down to 5. Push Brian Thomas down to 5. Okay.
Yeah. He's a listed. I'm always gonna say listed because the boys be making stuff up with these numbers. He's 5'11", 215, and he looks to be every bit of that. And you see that showcase when the ball's in his hand because he looks like a running back at times. Arm tackle's not going to get him to the ground. He often, the first guy miss. He tracks the ball very, very well down the football field. Has some short area quickness, strong, slippery, and tough. Got here, tracks the ball well, and he wins at all levels of the field: outside, inside, short, deep, middle, intermediate. Doesn't matter, right? And he can be a moving piece within the offense if you want him to be. Doesn't have to be, but if you want him to be, and he can stack DBs all day long, man. Catching folks falling asleep. I don't know what they were doing, but running by everybody. So Luther Burden is right now. He is wide receiver. What I got him? I think wide receiver 2. Right? Yeah, wide receiver 2 right now for me. I got T-Mac a little higher because he's got the height, and he can run away from folks, or he can make people miss, break some tackles. So kind of give him the nod there because he's a bigger receiver. Gives you a little bit more from the position because he's a bigger guy. So, but Luther Burden, yeah, man, easy.
And like you mentioned, he makes plays at every level of the field. 32 forced missed tackles, 710 yards after the catch, 1,200 on the season. So makes plays everywhere. I think it's really impressive when a guy comes out the gates and he does it, right? So freshman year, he does his thing, right? He balls. You know what I'm saying? You come back, you game plan for him, right? This is the guy that we got to stop. He is the passing offense. The passing offense goes through him, and he comes out and does it again. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's really impressive. So, yeah, that's high praise because this was a really impressive draft class among the receiving group, and to be top 4, certainly nothing to sneeze at. He's got a legitimate chance. Got a legitimate chance to be the top receiver in this class. A strong chance. I'm sure they're going to be. I would imagine teams are split. I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of teams actually lean towards Burden, assuming he puts up another quality season here. So, yeah. I think that pick makes a lot of sense for the Titans, considering Hopkins obviously long in the tooth last year of his contract, and as I mentioned, Treylon Burks just struggled to stay healthy at the end of the day. Travis Hunter actually falls just outside the top 10 here. He goes to Mississippi Praski's Seahawks. I thought this was an interesting selection. You certainly can never have enough good corners. There's no question about it. Tariq Woolen, obviously a later pick, but he played so well as a rookie that it's kind of one of those things. It was like he's just scratching the surface. He's just learning the position. He's going to continue to get better and better. Devin Witherspoon was a top cornerback selected 2 seasons ago. So it came as a little bit of a surprise here in terms of Travis Hunter. But then when I thought about it, I was like, he's so damn talented. You can't have enough corners. I might play him at receiver a little bit. Like, let's go get him. Let's ultimately go get him. What do you think about Hunter, and what do you think about the fit here in Seattle?
I don't mind the fit. I don't know if it's a needed a need, especially this high up in the draft for me. If they're picking this high, that means Geno Smith failed. That means that Sam Howell had to have played at some point and he failed. So to me, this is probably a quarterback pick, right? And I know I don't. Well, let me not spoil it. To me, this might be the Cam Ward pick, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. But in terms of Travis Hunter, I think we kind of know what he is. You know, he's cornerback 1, cornerback 2, good movement ability. He plays the position a little bit more subtle, and he's a playmaker, right? So he has that gene in him, you know. So and the moment's never too big for him. But in terms of going to Seattle, I don't know. Am I missing something? Yeah.
No. I think your point is well taken, right? If they're picking this high, it's probably because, you know, the quarterback play wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? And that's not taking a shot at Howell or Geno, right? I think those are just solid options at the quarterback position. But certainly, if they're picking this high, that probably means they don't have their guy. They probably don't have their guy, or the defense just the bottom fell out of it, and you need a Travis Hunter. You understand what I'm saying? You know, Tariq Woolen or Witherspoon can't stay healthy, or whatever the case may be. The bottom would have had to have fallen out defensively for them to be picking this high. So interesting. I think just in terms of the talent, though, when you think about best player available, draft talent, focus on drafting talent, you can certainly make a case for Hunter. He's that talented. He's that talented, right? He's one of those players who's like, okay, screw need here. Let's go get perhaps the most talented football player in the class, regardless of position, right? We just want good football player. Hunter is an excellent football player. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and again, I think there's something to be said for a guy, you know, the top prospect in his respective recruiting class come out and just answer the bell. You know what I'm saying? Didn't shrink, understood all of the hoopla and all of the excitement around him. And no matter whether it was Jackson State, Colorado, you could see just the uber talent that he is each Saturday. So I'm with you, Mr. Ciprasky. I like the player, maybe not the fit so much, but certainly if it comes down to Seattle saying, hey, best player available, it's hard to argue with Travis Hunter. Again, Drew, your point's well taken. I think Mr. Ciprasky agrees with you. In all likelihood, you're picking this early. Something either went really wrong in your cornerback room, or, you know, you need a cornerback, right? Cam Ward. You know what I'm saying? And I'm certainly on that bandwagon for obvious reasons. You can check it in the back there. But I like Cam Ward before he transferred. I like him even more now. All right.
So hold on, we're gonna put you on the spot then. So
sure.
Where do you have Cam Ward with your quarterbacks? Give me your top 3 quarterbacks.
My top 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to put him in my top 3. I got to put him in my top 3. Yeah, I think Shedeur has the edge currently for me in terms of quarterback 1. But I can make a case for Ward as quarterback 2 or quarterback 3. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely no lower than quarterback 3. And by the end of it, he may very well be quarterback 2. Excuse me. Speaking of quarterbacks, this is one that I listen. We talk about Carson. We talk about Carson Beck having to prove some things. Quinn Ewers has something to prove. He definitely got something to prove. What are your thoughts on Ewers? What did you see? What do you like? Let's focus on what you actually like from Ewers.
What do I like about? Is it, how do you say it? Yours? Like yours? Like it's me and yours? Yours and me and yours? I don't know. Am I even saying that right? I like his size. All right. I like when he does process things and he gets the ball out. Like when he's in rhythm, I think he's one of the best in the country. All right. But there are times when he just either holds on to the football, he's not seeing it well, or the ball is, I like to call it floaty. Right? It's just not coming out with the velocity. And I'm not a power thrower quarterback guy. That's not my thing. I don't need my quarterback to be gunning it like Jay Cutler. I don't need that, right? But I need you not to float the football, especially down the middle of the football field, right? And missing guys, overthrowing guys, or just the ball's hanging up too long, and guys have to stop and come back to it, right? And then we talk about Shador in terms of, having the ice in his veins and being able to come back and be that gamer. I don't know that yours is that, right? Because, you got to will your team to win sometimes, man. And sometimes he just couldn't do it, man. With all the talent they got there at Texas, there are no excuses, bro. Yours. There you go. Yours. That's how you say it. I don't know. We'll go with it. You nasty. All right. I got to stop talking. That's crazy. Somebody go clip the tape, bro. But yeah, there's an element of his game that's missing, specifically from the quarterback position, that he's going to have to show me, because I need that oomph, and it's not there yet for him, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and the problem with this too is that he got Arch Manning nipping at his heels, and you don't want this to be a Caleb Williams at Oklahoma type thing with Spencer Rattler, right? Because some guys, can rise to the occasion, right? Pressure creates diamonds, right? But pressure also busts pipes too. So are you a pipe, or are you a coal that can turn into a diamond? What is that? Who is that? Who are you? Right? So I don't know.
We don't know. No, so I want to answer this question. I want to answer this question. First of all, Jacoby George, learn the name. Learn the name. 16th ranked receiver in his recruiting class. Learn the name. Xavier Restrepo is a leading receiver coming back. The last two, I think, tight ends that Mario recruited were like the top tight ends in their respective recruiting class. It's still a young group, but a lot of talent, bro. It's a lot of talent. Carr.
Don't forget about that. Hey, don't forget about the 8th year tight end either, bro.
No. He blocks. Restrepo's a good slot. Stop playing with me. This is college football we're talking about. He's a good slot. All right. JoJo Trader and Carr. Those are the true freshmen coming in. Like, so everybody knows Jeremiah Smith. Everybody knows who Jeremiah Smith is. Top receiver, best thing out of South Florida since ever, right? He's at Ohio State. His teammate, JoJo Trader, is a monster, bro. He's a monster. He's not as physically imposing as Jeremiah Smith, but he might be the better football player, not the better receiver. Make that clear. But Trader might actually be a better football player. They said that he could probably be a standout at corner as well. So yeah. This don't worry about it. We got guys over there. Cam's gonna have his best group of receivers he's ever had. Don't worry about it. Come on, kid. Don't do Restrepo like that.
5'3". Come on,
don't do him
bro.
like that, bro. It's a 1,000-yard receiver in the Power 5 now. The Power 4, man. Don't do Restrepo like that, man. Come on.
Hey, but listen, they got to play the Gators coming out the gate, man. Don't forget at 3:30.
Yeah. Y'all getting smacked, bro. I've told you this now. I've told you this for like a year now, bro. Y'all getting smacked, bro.
And
y'all getting smacked, bro. I'm just telling you, bro.
We got the other Colorado corner coming over, transfer to walk on.
Cormani? Nah,
they killing it.
I don't think Cormani gonna play, bro.
They unaliving that guy right now on the YouTube streets.
It's a bit tough. Yeah, it's a bit tough. Cormani should have stuck with the Canes, bro. He got seduced by the prime speech.
Yeah, they say he was playing one school against the other with the NIL and all that stuff.
That doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. This is what I'm trying to tell him, D-Kid. I'm trying to tell him, bro.
Listen, I don't know what I'm gonna see from the Gators. You're not gonna hear me talk trash about the Gators. Now, if we go out there and we win, oh yeah, I'm be a little bit insufferable, just so that you know. But I have no idea what this team's gonna look like. I don't know, so I can't say too much, man.
I feel you. I think the part that people are missing on Cam Ward is how good the offensive line is going to be. I think we get enamored with who's on the boundary, who the receivers are, who the skill positions, but the offensive line that he's going to play behind is going to be the key. That's going to be the difference. That's what's going to vault him, because you're going to be able to see all of that arm talent in its full splendor, because he's going to have time to throw. That's he just didn't have that level of protection, albeit very impressive at Washington State. He just didn't have that level of protection with the Cougs. So I think that's going to be the difference. I think it's a good young group of receivers here in Miami, a really talented but inexperienced group outside of George and Restrepo. I think the guy Isaiah Horton, who kind of came alive later in the season, he actually replaced Kobe Young. I mentioned him earlier. He's transferred to Georgia. Kobe Young became, an afterthought in that offense, right, where Horton's stepping in. So, good, solid group, in terms of the upperclassmen, but the youngsters are where the big-time talent is in terms of the skill positions here in Miami.
Gotta take shots. Gotta take shots.
Oh, man. All right. You mentioned yours. You mentioned that there's we question his ability to throw the ball with authority, right? Like you said, it's already kind of loopy. It gives defensive backs an opportunity to get back into phase, make plays on the football. That's problematic. That's problematic. And there were some games where he was really impressive, and then there were some other games I was like, what is happening? Like, he don't look varsity, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just thought the peaks and valleys were a bit too severe for my liking. So I'd like to see more consistency and hopefully more zip on the football. I'm with you, Drew. I don't think you have to have a howitzer of an arm to be effective. But if you're not playing with the requisite anticipation, one, and two, there are times, there's going to come a time where you have to put some extra pace on the football. The ball got to get up and down. You know what I'm saying? And it's just too many change-ups for my taste, right? There's some quarterbacks who struggle with touch. Yours doesn't necessarily have that issue, but yeah, I think I don't know. He was such a highly touted prospect. Of course, Texas had a really great season. They're poised to have another very good season here, even though they lost a lot of talent. They bring in Isaiah Bond. We mentioned Banks in terms of protecting his blind side. Good complement of backs. I think Texas is going to be a good offense, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that he's going to take the necessary step to warrant being the 12th overall pick. He has the most to prove among these quarterbacks, even more so than Carson Beck in my eyes. All right, let's get to your Tampa Bay Bucks here. And Benjamin Morrison, I've told you before, you need another corner. Jordan Reed agrees with me here. Benjamin Morrison. So we talked about who those top corners are in this class. Where does Morrison slot in for you? What do you like about him?
Morrison is 5, maybe 6 corner. I like Morrison's size. I like his physicality. I think he looks like he might be more comfortable playing off coverage. He plays a combination of off on over there at Notre Dame. I think he plays the boundary well in terms of using the sideline. I don't know, corners, that's a lost art out there. A couple of these corners, though, in this draft, I think use it well. I think he's one of those guys. So, yeah, I want to check them hips. I want to see if they Shakira. So that's something I'll be looking for from him. He battled in that Ohio State game, him and Cam Hart. That's probably one of the games you want to go back and watch when you go to watch him this past year. But yeah, I like Morrison. I just don't like him going to the Bucks. I don't want no corner going to the Bucks, bro. I want something to do something different.
Yeah, you're gonna change your tune after this year.
I might, bro. I might. Yeah. I might be like, damn, bro. Cost us the playoff game.
Yeah.
And, I got to eat it. You know what I'm saying? So.
So with that being said, who would you have liked here? If clearly it didn't go the way you had planned, you're picking 13th overall here in Tampa Bay. It did not go swimmingly. You did not improve upon last year's playoff win for sure. What direction would you go in here for Tampa Bay?
Let me see.
By the way, I when I was evaluating, I'm a big fan of Cam Hart. I confuse those two at times, bro.
Yeah,
I don't see
similar.
Benjamin Morrison, although he has some really big time, production, early in his career. I don't see him as a far and away better prospect than Cam Hart. Maybe by the end of this draft cycle, I changed my tune there. Cam Hart slips into the 5th round. That didn't make sense to me. I thought it was a day 2 prospect. But I think they're a bit closer, at least in my estimation, based on what I've seen thus far. Yeah, Jabbar's a guy. That's a capital GUY right there.
Now, if they win him, I might be okay.
Oh, I see. So it's not the position; it's the player.
Yeah, maybe it's not the position; maybe it's the player.
I hear you,
and I think I've seen him in at least 2 of these mocks, not 3 of these mocks, where it's Benjamin Morrison going to the leaving my guy. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think. And this is not a knock on Morrison. It really isn't a knock on Morrison because, again, I believe Cam Hart came at a huge discount being selected in the 5th round. I think he and Morrison Hart, that is, they're much closer in terms of their ability. Now, Morrison may ultimately have the higher ceiling. He's certainly considered a better prospect in the eyes of many. So I can certainly understand why he's being selected as high as he is as compared to where Hart ultimately landed. But just in terms of my evaluation of their play last year, I didn't see big difference between those two. And again, like I said, at times I confused one with the other. All right. That takes us to the 14th overall pick. And my guy, man, Malachi Starks, bro. That's my guy, bro. I mean, I can't call him my guy because he's a 5-star recruit. But again, when you talk about players coming in with a lot of hype and just day one, as advertised, making plays, and again, I think the real luxury of a Malachi Starks is the fact that, he can do so many different things, right? He can play single high. He can do the split safety look. He can come down. He can challenge in the nickel. I think he allowed Javon Bullard, Tyke Smith to do what they do best. You understand what I'm saying? And that's kind of what you're looking for from a last line of defense defender, right? Is can I adjust my chess pieces based on what you're capable of doing? Because you can erase so many different things and you can wear as many hats as you can. Does that allow me to put my chess pieces in the optimal positions? And I think Malachi Starks has that ability. I think he definitely has that ability. He's to me, he's the best defender on this Georgia roster returning. You understand what I'm saying? And of course, we just haven't seen safety selected in the 1st round the last couple of drafts. Certainly not this early. He's definitely deserving of it. I expect him to be off the board in the first 20 to 25 selection. He's that good.
I ain't got none of that, bro. That's your guy.
He's a baller, bro. He's a star. All right. Chicago Bears, who were Patrick Payton. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, so looking at his numbers, which I didn't look up, and I was comparing them over here to James Pierce here. I was looking at all the guys I got here in front of me, and they're both 6'5", but Patrick Payton is listed at 239, but he can play. He plays like a power edge to me. And he's a guy that's hard to move once at the point of attack. And for me, the issue that I had with him was, and he had some moves that he can operate with, in terms of his pass rush, but it's the speed for me that I think I'm missing with him. The speed, he has some initial burst, but you don't see it often, I don't see it enough for me to kind of give him the nod. But when he uses it, he wins with it, but I don't see enough of it. I don't know if that's just part of his plan, right? So maybe I need to watch a couple more games to see if he's setting folks up. But to me, it doesn't appear he has a plan when he makes point of contact on pass rushes. He gets stuck, gets stymied, gets slowed down. So I think that for me is probably the next step that I want to see from him. And then his closing speed to close things out when he does, maybe able to get around the corner, beats his guy to close out and make the play. So those are the things I'm looking for from him. But he's not far off, man, because he has a lot of things that you want. Good size from the position. And again, he's one of those guys that can grow into his frame. So some more.
As I recall, Mrs. Zebrowski, I think he's pretty solid against the run, as I recall it. Obviously, we'll need to confirm that, but as I recall, pretty solid against the run. I said it before. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. I want to see it now that Jerry Verse is no longer there. Right? Now that you had a couple of early draft picks along that defensive line go to the pros, even Fabian Lovett, you know what I'm saying? He's now in somebody's training camp as well. You lose three of the four starters up front. I got to see it. You the man now. Right? Nobody was game planning for Patrick Payton. Talented player, highly talented recruit, right? Flashed. You understand what I'm saying? But you got a lot of one-on-ones, man. You didn't get the attention. They didn't chip you. They didn't line the tight end over you. They didn't. You understand what I'm saying? You know, but he did his job, and more often than not, that he was able to impact and make an impact in games. So now that you're the man, now that you are the star, now that you are being looked to really be the focal point of that pass rush, how effective can you be? That's my question. So if he manages to build on what he did last year with the focus, the microscope being on him, then certainly, and this is a pretty good landing spot here. Like the pick of Austin Booker late on day 3, I think that was a nice addition. But they could certainly add somebody opposite Montez Sweat to be part of that edge rush rotation here in Chicago. Here's your guy, McMillan, receiver out of Arizona to the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to
Makes
say
a lot
that
of
first
sense.
name. No, it makes a whole lot of sense, and it's a good fit. It's well, I mean, I know your boy's gone, but they have, you know, that's one of their types. That's the type that they have. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, it's been like that for a while over there for the Chargers. Just need them boys to change that bolt. But this is big, physical, and he looks open all the time because of the way he plays position, man. You know, he can move like a smaller guy though, and that's the thing. That's another one of his attributes that I really like, man. You know, you're looking at a guy who's you know listed at 6'5", 210. I guess if you're 6'5", 210, you should be able to move a little bit like a smaller guy. But I mean, he be out there posting guys up, bro. You know, I know we don't see that a lot in the league. You know, everybody's a shooter in the league, but this guy right here, bro, he'll back it up, back it in, bro, and just throw it, lob it up, and he'll post up. He'll catch it one-handed, two-handed, make cornerbacks look silly, man. Get the ball in. A lot of passes that he got were little bubble screens, and I'm like, yo, who's throwing a bubble screen to a 6'5" guy? And then you just see the movement ability to just put his head down and go, man. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily making guys miss, just a guy who just puts his head down and go. He's not an easy target to take down at that size, and with him moving, you know, that fast, you know, 50-50 ball is not a problem. You know, catch radius, obviously a plus. Contested catches, no problem. You know, you see that consistently. I think he's putting his. I think the quarterback they have there, I can't think of his name, but I think he might be putting this guy on the map a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Although I think that guy actually might be highly touted too as well. But that may be a guy we need to watch. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Noah. We don't call him Noah. That's the guy we might need to be watching as well, because that's who's throwing him the rock. Obviously, he had you know, Jacob Cowing last year. I think they had another guy. I can't think of his name. I think he left as senior. But it's T-Mac show. You know what I'm saying? This year.
A couple things I want to get to based on the comments that we have rolling in. I love Weed. I thought Cooper Beebe was the best pick in the 3rd round. I actually talked about it during our draft recap. I thought he was the best pick in the 3rd round. I like what Dallas did in terms of addressing their offensive line. Lufau a little early for my blood, for me personally, but good player, good football player. Getting your boy from Wake Forest later in the draft was a nice selection too. So I just wonder what they're going to do at the skill position, the quarterback position long term there in Dallas. But I thought Mr. C. Prassley made a great point, and this is going back to my point regarding Patrick Payton. He talked about Boye Mafe and how effective he was when Nwosu was in the lineup, right? Just every week affecting the quarterback. And then when Nwosu went down, Mafe, you know, the teams adjusted and they basically said, okay, we're going to take Mafe away. He's having success. You know what I'm saying? Every week he's getting our quarterback on the ground. We're going to make it a point to not allow him to beat us. And of course, they were able to neutralize him. And of course, as Mr. C. Prasky pointed out, when Nwosu came back, Mafe was able to pick it up once again, right? So, of course, it's the ultimate team sport. But when you talk about guys being top of the first round selections, right? You gotta be able to make a play and impact the game regardless of what they throw at you. To truly be deserving of that top billing, that top ranking, you got to still be able to impact the game. And you do to a degree because there's so much attention being paid to you, but you still got to find a way to make plays yourself. Speaking of Mafe, and D-Kit mentioned it, he's a big fan of Mafe. We love Mafe here at CPGM as well. In fact, we had Mafe over Ebiketie. That was the guy that analysts seemed to really love and covet, right? Another Senior Bowl participant out of Penn State, another one of those pass rushers. They loved Ebiketie. I think he was a bit more, friendly from an analytics perspective. But watching Mafe and getting to see him up close in Mobile, that was a deal sealer for us. We thought he was a better prospect coming out. So very good player. But I really do think, and I'm glad Mr. Brasky brought that up, it really illustrates what I mean regarding Patrick Payton. All right. Denzel Burke to the Jaguars. So the question really was whether or not Jacksonville would go receiver or corner. I think if they get the Calvin Ridley deal done, they probably do go corner. They end up with a Terrion Arnold perhaps. But in what transpired in the 2024 draft, they ultimately went with Brian Thomas because Calvin Ridley is now a Tennessee Titan. They get Denzel Burke here in Jordan Reed's way too early 2025 mock draft. I would imagine from your perspective, based on what you saw last year, this is a little too soon for your blood. Although I thought Burke finished the season pretty strong. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that's maybe what we're building off here. And last year he was one of the top corners going into the country, right, or going into the season, and just I put Denzel Burke and Jason Marshall in the same category. I might put Jason Marshall about 2 tiers down, maybe. Because he's still a mystery. But like you said, Denzel Burke kind of started to turn it around because watching the tape, there's times where you're like, okay, this I see the cornerback one. And then other times you're like, I mean, it wasn't terrible. You're just like, what? How'd you go from,
you should have made that play.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's happening?
That's the prevailing feeling that I get when I watch Denzel Burke, right? It's like, bro, you should
sleep at the wheel, bro. Sleep at the wheel, right? Like, the quarterback not a position where you can just fall asleep, bro. Like, you out there by yourself majority of the time. So I need you to be, you know what I'm saying? When they say falling asleep is the worst thing you can do when you're driving, bro. It's worse than the DUI stuff. So I need you to be awake, bro. I need you to be on it. I need you to be alive. I need you to be here with me. I need you to be here, right? And so there may be a concentration thing with him because I think he has the requisite size, the physicality, the capability to play the position, all the things that you want from the position. Just fall asleep at the wheel, bro. And that may be just sit down in a conversation. And maybe he can just say, hey, this is what was going on. Oh, okay, all right, go, done. All right. So, but he's got to put it together this year for sure.
All right. We talked about the left tackle there at LSU. Now the right tackle here, Emory Jones. Cleveland, I don't know. I don't know. Jack Conklin, it just hasn't worked out because of the injuries since he became a Brown. Right. Of course, they brought in Dawan Jones, but then Jedrick Wills entering the final year of his deal. So this does appear to be a team that's in need of a offensive tackle.
Yeah.
What do you think about Jones?
Yeah, I like Jones, and I could see him being right tackle one. I don't think he's better than Will Campbell. I don't think he's better than Calvin Banks Jr. at the current moment, but I like his ability to get his hands out. I think he's physical. Like we talked about earlier in terms of those LSU tackles, they have all that you want from the position in terms of the physical traits. The boys just got to finish putting it together. Again, no Jaden Daniels. What does that look like? Now you really got to play tackle versus guys kind of coming off of the edge gingerly, right? And kind of mush rushing, right? Now they got it. Now it's a little bit different. Right, game plan has changed, and so let's see if you can play offensive tackle like it's supposed to be played in the league, and not just kind of, okay, we can adjust because we have a quarterback who can, if you miss, he can make things happen, or he just puts the fear in the edge guys. So they're not coming with all the tools in their shed box. They're not coming with, the screwdriver, the hammer. They might be coming with, just one or two tools because of how they're going to play defense this week versus LSU.
Damn, D-Kid, that's harsh.
I mean, bro, when you sleep at the wheel, I don't think he's as bad as Kalen King. I mean, because there's some gross stuff going on with Kalen King. I don't think it's gross with Denzel Burke. I just think, damn, come on, man. That might be the new Reggie Fish, bro. By the way,
you know who I kind of, who comes to mind? Marlon Humphrey, bro. Marlon Humphrey at Alabama. Marlon Humphrey gave up a lot of touchdowns. At Alabama, and it was like, bro, you're in position. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. How did that happen? Like you said, falling asleep at the wheel. Like there's a lot of ability there, right? It's just that it's just not translating consistently. It became evident. Kalen King is not the athlete we thought he might have been initially, right? And of course, he's not playing with great technique either. So it's a perfect storm. You know what I'm saying? As far as him really torpedoing his stock. So I don't expect it to be that pronounced here with Denzel Burke. And like I said, I thought Burke finished the year pretty strong. But yeah, that's a tough one. Do not it's ever.
Sure. I said it. Don't do it.
Oh man. Are we on the Rams? Or can I talk about Deion Walker now?
Yeah, go ahead, man. That shit.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about this young man. So, Jordan Reed going back to the well here, of course. Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, those down linemen. Bring in Jared Verse. Of course, you lose Aaron Donald, so you want to throw as many things against the wall here, as many pass rushers against the wall, defenders against the wall here to account for it, man. This guy's something else, bro. Deion Walker's something else. To be that big and as quick as he is, as twitchy as he is, you see good hand usage, able to keep guys off his frame. He's got a white hot motor. I came away very impressed. I'm looking forward to see what he does in terms of his encore, but very, very impressed in terms of interior defensive lineman. What I really like, and it speaks to his motor, right? It speaks to his relentlessness, is how he retraces his steps when he's pass rushing, right? So you got guys who will beat the offensive guard or offensive tackle, and then they get to the apex of their rush, and the quarterback steps up, and they just kind of run right by him, and they're out of the play, right? Walker, at his size, and he's listed 6'6", 348, and I think he's every bit of that. Maybe not the 6'6" part, but the 348 for sure, right? His ability to stop, he's got light feet for such a big man. He's got light feet to stop on a dime, retrace his steps, and chase down those quarterbacks is impressive. He doesn't take himself out of the play, and I think that's really what's so impressive, his change of direction at his size. Again, we talk about the hand usage. We talk about playing with leverage and physicality. All those things are there, but I think what really makes him effective and really makes him, special in a certain sense. I don't want to crown him just yet, but as you can tell, I'm very excited about this particular prospect, is ability to move laterally and to stop and change directions. And again, retrace his steps, get his hands on that ball carrier, right? You think a guy's seeing, it's opening up, and you got a 5, 6, 7 yard gain, and it turns out to be a loss because Walker made a play. You understand what I'm saying? Or no gain, a yard gain. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he bailed Kentucky out quite a bit. And this is a team that has gotten just better and better and better. And led by their defense in their running game of the last several seasons. But Walker might be the most talented player coming out of Kentucky that I can remember. I mean, Josh Allen, I think that's probably the next guy, right? Or the top guy, right? And then we're talking about Deion Walker. I think at that point, after Josh Allen, you're talking about Deion Walker. So yeah, Deacon, I like it. I like it. I
Yeah,
like
that's a
it.
good
I mean,
call. I like it too.
and if he listen, Walker's impressive. Walker's impressive, and I'm not sure if it was Walter Football or DP. It might have been Walter Football that didn't have him in his first round. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it was Walter Football.
I don't get it. Yeah, no, I don't know. DP wouldn't make that mistake. I don't get it. This guy got to be in your first round. I'm not saying you got to be in the top. You like your Mason Grahams. You know, you got some other guys that you like a little bit more, sure. But this guy's impressive, definitely. All right. I stole all your thunder. Did I steal all your thunder?
Yeah. No, you good. We ain't got to talk about him no more. This comment by DK remind me of your boy David Pollock. In terms of you can't practice with us, bro. You can't.
What?
No. I'm just saying in terms of because he was a guy I think if I'm not mistaken where they were like, yo, you know. You need to go sit on
David Pollock, man, that neck injury was a shame because David Pollock was a baller. David Pollock was a baller. Yeah. I did not know that, DK. Yeah, Walker's a problem, bro. He man. Like to me, the most dominant defensive lineman over the last couple of seasons, in its entirety, right, has been Chris Jones in the NFL. Right, just in terms of interior defensive lineman and then being able to make plays on the edge or interior and his timeliness of his plays. And while Dexter Lawrence may make a little bit more sense in terms of the body type from a comparison, I get that same sense that, okay, Deion Walker's going to make a play. Deion Walker's going to find a way to make a play when it matters most. You know what I'm saying? I kind of get that sense. So won't put him in that rarefied air just yet, but I am impressed. In fact, I think currently at this moment, he's my top interior defensive lineman.
He should be most people's.
All right, and still, even still, he isn't. Nick Skirton out of Texas A&M, the edge. So Atlanta continuously looking to find that pass rush here. What do you think? What do you think about this selection?
So Nick Skirton, he's coming from, is it Purdue? I guess Purdue, Wake Forest. One of them gold colored, black gold color. I think it's Purdue, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody let me know. But I got here a phrase here. I said
it was Purdue, Drew. It was Purdue.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll get you before you get him. All right. So he's getting his punch out and his hands on the offensive lineman before they ever get on him, and has a plan and moves and to ready to use. So that's something that you as a defensive coordinator, you're looking at, you're like, damn, we can mold this into something very quickly because he's already kind of evolved, if you will, right, with that move set and having a plan. So now we're talking about just refining it and making it something, turning it up an extra level or two with some NFL coaching. So, if he can put it together in terms of being productive, turning those things into either hurries, sacks, more often, we might be talking about something a little different. And then being with that Texas A&M defense, right? So he might be able to turn the corner here and be one of the top edge guys for this draft cycle.
Mr. Zebrowski, I assume you're asking whether or not Deion or T. Sweat's the better player. I think I'm going with Walker, and I like T. Sweat a lot. I like T. Sweat a lot, but the question marks that you have with T. Sweat, you don't have with Walker. That motor, white hot, bro, white hot, and he does not move like he's 350. He moves like he's 300 pounds.
That's the crazy part.
I'm saying? Yeah, bro. Yeah,
and he's pretty tight. He might be all that 6'6", bro. He might be all that.
He might be. I'm not sure because you know how those, when there's the college listings and stuff like that, they usually give 2 inches here or there, whatever the case may be. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's a bad boy for sure. All right.
Did they kick Skirton inside at times? I didn't put it here in my notes, but I think I saw him inside at times as well.
Yeah, DK said plays like Darius Robinson. Yeah.
I'm mad at it.
Emeka Egbuka, Drew. You know, we talked at length about Ibuka last week in terms of the fact that, you know, this time last year, a lot of prognosticators had him as a first-round pick. I was kind of on the fence about that. You know, I could certainly understand what they like about him, particularly after the catch, but just didn't see it consistently enough from him. He's got a chance. He's got a chance to really solidify this first-round billing. You know, and we talked about where he would rank among the last 5 or 6 Ohio State receivers, and he tends to be much lower on the list, you know, or towards the bottom of that particular list. What do you think about the fit here in New York, though?
So what do they? Let me look at the roster real quick. Obviously, they got Garrett Wilson. So I said, I guess
it's Wilson and Corley, bro, and they got Mike Williams. They got Mike Williams on a 1-year deal, prove it deal.
So this mean that the Mike Williams he ain't there? Like, are we saying he's still there?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, so let's say Mike Williams plays really well. Are they going to give him a big long-term deal? Probably not.
You know,
Probably not.
It doesn't matter because I think I think he's a slot for me only. And I know right now that's Corley's spot right now, but again, you can never have too many slots, and they're 2 different types of slots.
Sure.
So I'm not mad at it because I think he is a guy who's got some quick twitch. A guy who runs route. I mean, he's coming from wide receiver use, so he can run some routes. He has good enough hands. He just gives you a different element, and you can play some matchups with him. You know what I'm saying, in terms of beating the linebackers or the nickel back or safety. Across him, I think you probably want a nickel back on him versus anything else, but because of his ability to move and create separation. So I'm not mad at it. I don't know that I would go back to receiver for the Jets here, but. Let me see what I got my receivers at. Is he? Yeah, I might go in a different direction with the receiver. I know this guy's not gonna flash. I don't think he's gonna show up at the combine, so he may never breach first round. But I like Torrey Horton from Colorado State.
That's the Kits guy right there.
Yeah,
that's Jake's guy too.
That is Jake's guy.
That's Jake's guy too. Yeah, Ibuka has to show me something. I know he had the juice coming into the 2023 season.
Right.
Nagging injury, as Jordan Reed pointed out here. That certainly slowed him down. But just watching his game, and it's fine. It's fine that you got multiple guys who are better suited for the slot. It's just not ideal. You understand what I'm saying? With Garrett Wilson, I want someone who profiles more like a Mike Williams to play opposite him with Malachi Corley in the slot. You understand what I'm saying? Like now, can Ibuka, play above the rim? I think he's athletic enough to do it, but to me, it's a matter of I'm ready to see Emeka Ibuka be the next guy up. You understand what I'm saying? No Jeremiah Smith is coming. Trust me. Brandon Ennis is a talented player in his own right. Right? I don't expect both of those guys to remain at Ohio State for the rest of their careers. Well, at least one of them are transferring. Ibuka made the right decision going back to school. Now you got to capitalize. You have some things to prove. You know what I'm saying? I think he's one of those players. I wouldn't put him in the same class like yours or something like that. But I think Ibuka has something to prove. I think certainly you have the likes of a Torrey Horton. You got a few other receivers that I think are right in that same conversation there, latter parts of the first round, that could push Ibuka into day 2. Certainly. Yeah. So he's got some things to prove.
You got Tej Johnson, Evan Stewart, Isaiah Bond.
Stewart, yep.
You know what I'm saying? So there's guys that will push him, and if it's a guy that can play both slot and outside, for sure, like a Torrey Horton. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you could deploy him everywhere, right? You could deploy him everywhere.
Is that UCLA?
Yeah, I think so.
Not UCLA. Yeah, UCLA. Yeah, UCLA.
Yeah, I think so. I think D-Kids mentioned him before.
Yeah, he did.
Servant. Colston Loveland to the Dolphins. We certainly understand the need at the position. What do you think of the player, Drew?
Yeah, He catches everything that comes his way. Gets set around quick, fast, and in a hurry. He's a big target. He's done. I think he had 45 catches last year. That's a lot, I guess, for playing at Michigan. I'm selfish. I would have liked to have seen him kind of get the Brock Bowers treatment. I know that's not how they do it at Michigan, but it would have been interesting to see him get that kind of treatment. Not that many tight ends get that treatment, period. But I think he's that type of player, that type of capability. And if you're playing at Michigan, you got to be able to block if you're going to play the tight end position. So I think that's the one thing I'm going to be keen on this more on him this year than anything else, because he can play in the slot, play in the boundary. But I want to see what he looks like blocking. Because apparently, in every mock we've seen, or every mock I've seen for 2025, he is tight end one, and it's not even close. Like there's not another tight end being talked about at all. So he is the guy. So let's see if we can round him out and see what that blocking game is talking about.
Yeah, I would expect him to be the focal point of the passing game this season, right? Yep. Roman Wilson moving on.
Yep.
His name's escaping me, but their top two receivers.
Cornelius.
Yeah, Johnson.
Yep.
They're now in the NFL. So I would expect Loveland really to be the focal point of that offense. We might get a little Brock Bowers treatment. Fearfully confident. I saw your comment earlier. I forgot to get back to it. Yes, Bryce Young bounces back. Bryce Young definitely bounces back. How close is Jack Sawyer and JT, or are the games completely different, so not a fair comparison? What do you think, Drew?
So that's a good question. And
it is.
I think that Jack Sawyer has a little bit. I think they're both technicians. So from the standpoint of that, I think they are that, because neither one of them to me scream power, and neither one of them scream athletic, screaming off the edge, flash, dash, the sexy that a lot of people like from that position. So I don't think they're that. I think they're both technicians. I think Jack Sawyer has a little bit more power to me, but the thing that separates them is when the game's on the line, JT seems to rise to the occasion. So I think that's what separates them from me.
Yep. And that was going to be my point regarding Tuamala. And of course, our patrons here at Couch Potato General Manager, they give me a hard time because they say I hate on JT, but JT could go missing for 58 minutes, bro. But when you need him, when you need him, bro, yep, he has a tendency to make a play. He plays his best against the best competition.
Yeah.
Right? One of the few players that have given Olu any trouble. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he seems to rise to the occasion in those big marquee matchups in the Big Ten against Michigan, against Penn State. But otherwise, I'm just waiting, bro. I'm like,
we especially from that position.
I need more. I need more consistency out of him. So when you consider those flashes and when and whom those flashes are coming against, I can certainly understand why he's considered a first-round prospect. I just don't see enough consistency in his game to be a first-round player. That's the way I see it. Early day too, sure, but that's the way I look at it.
I'm going to say if he ends up being a first-rounder, he's either going to surprise you at the combine, one. Two, he is what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. But
it happens.
I don't know. I don't expect him to be this super athletic. I don't see it. You don't see it in his game. It's just not there. He just, he's where he's supposed to be, and he makes big plays when they're most needed.
Sam Hubbard, bro. Sam Hubbard, bro. You know what I'm saying?
So that's
not a first round. Sam Hubbard's a good player. He's a very good player, though, but he ain't a first round pick. You know what I'm saying? So
him playing big against big opponents, though, I think that's what keeps him hooked.
That's my point.
Keeps him in the first round talk consistently. Yeah. But when you put the whole thing together, you're like, there's a whole lot of missing, bro. A whole lot of
there's valleys. There's valleys in this game. There's valleys in the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like, right? And like I said, when JT is on, bro, it's when the lights are brightest, bro. Taking over games. Taking over games. But I just snap to snap, game to game, week to week. I just don't see enough just yet. So again, literally, I shouldn't say literally, almost everybody came back here at Ohio State. They brought in a bunch of transfers, very talented players. I mentioned Jeremiah Smith. Like, they got a lot of talent here. They're poised to make a run at it. And I think in order for them to actually win it all, JT's going to have to play on a, at a higher level more consistently. So we'll see if he puts it all together this season. The Texans get Harold Perkins here at 24. And Drew, listen, man. We talked about it. We talked about it in season last year. We even touched on it throughout the pre-draft process, despite the fact that he, was an underclassman. We didn't understand what LSU was doing with him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just you see what he does as a true freshman, right? He's arguably the best pass rusher in the country, and then you move him to play off-ball linebacker. So we had that conversation regarding Abdul Carter. Where does he make his hay? You understand what I'm saying? And the question with Perkins clearly is his size. Does he have the size to be an every down edge rusher at the next level? Because ain't no question mark as to whether or not he can get after the passer. There's no question there, right? It's just, can he handle the rigors of a 17-game season at the NFL level, as small as he is? And what does he have to get up to in order for you to be comfortable with him being an every down pass rusher?
How much does he weigh?
I think he's 225, maybe 230, bro.
Damn, really?
We'll see. We'll see what it is. We'll see what it is come the season. He may have bulked up. He may have, you know what I'm saying? He's got the offseason to work on it, but I think he was playing around between like 228, 230 last year.
That boy's got him at 6'1", 220.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Maybe that's why they had him at linebacker. They're trying to protect him from himself. Yeah, I'd love him for the Bucks. Yeah, let's get. Listen, if he's getting picked at 24, that means that he was playing linebacker and not rushing the passer. All right. If he's not picked in the top 15, bro, that's how I see it, bro.
Yeah, but nobody's going to take him in the top half of the first round as an edge rusher.
Listen,
at 220, bro, they're not going to do it, bro.
If he come out there with 15, 16 sacks, you ain't doing it,
man. Listen,
and he show you I ain't got no problem playing the edge.
NFL teams are going to look at that 220 and be like, bro, this is the league.
Yeah.
This is the league. Now, I think teams will certainly give him an opportunity if he's at 240. That's not big by any stretch of the imagination when you consider that he's going to be facing 320, 330-pound offensive linemen. But I think teams will feel a bit more comfortable. So I think he's going to have to put on more mass to his frame. He's not the tallest. He's not the longest. You understand what I'm saying? So he's going to have to put more mass on his frame in order to play pass rush edge on a consistent basis. That being said, his home may be off the ball linebacker, and you moonlight as a pass rusher at the end of the day.
I think, would you 4-3 or 3-4? I think 3-4 because
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters. I think 3-4, you're getting an A+, getting an A+ player. If you put him in a 4-3, I think he drops to like an A, bro.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like
an attacking style as an inside linebacker,
yes.
right? In an odd man front. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying. I think he's versatile enough to play in both at a very high level.
Right.
It's just how you use him, bro. Because like I said, who's the last 235-ish pound pass rusher, bro? Was that Robert Mathis? I saw Reddick, and
Reddick's probably the last one. Yeah,
already does his thing. So
it's possible.
It's not out. It's not out of the question, but not at 220, bro. Not at 220.
But I bet you Reddick's what are we calling it? Reach and all that is probably
the length. Yeah.
The length it's probably much better than Harold Perkins. So that's probably
Yeah, it's not unheard of, but it's just unlikely, right?
You got to be special, right? If you're gonna be too small or too big or whatever, too much of something or not enough of something, you got to be special at something so they can say, you know what, we don't care. we'll work it out. We'll figure it out.
I have faith in the young man to add that mass though.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
I got faith.
His ability to cover though too, I think
may end up with him second level.
Second level.
Might end up at the second level. Yeah.
That probably keeps him there. I just don't know how you struggle as bad as you did for LSU and say, "No, we gonna stick him out."
Well, see that's the part that I don't understand. So we're talking about what it looks like as he's projecting to the next level, but just for the purposes of LSU, rush the passer, bro. Rush the damn passer. Absolutely. All right, Dennis Sutton. We're going right back to Penn State here for Philadelphia. How many damn edge rushers do the damn? How many do they need?
I don't know who he is. Somebody tell me what number he wears. Now, what number does he wear? I mean, you had 44, you had 20, you had 11. Come on, bro. How many y'all got over there, bro?
Yeah, it's a very deep rotation there at Penn State. This is a projection, right? The tools certainly are there. The frame is there. He can certainly add more weight, or he can stay right where he's at and be a stand-up edge rusher. It's a matter of, okay, you're going to have more opportunity here to get after the passer opposite Abdul Carter, and what do you do with that? So it very much is a projection, but this is Philadelphia, right? And Philadelphia is in that unique position where they're really deep at most positions. They can wait for guys to develop because they just kind of see the ceiling. Don't have to thrust those guys out there into a every down role. And on top of that, that's what Philadelphia wants. They want to be deep so that they can get the absolute most out of their pass rushers, right? They want them playing 25 to 35 snaps, no more than that, so that they can get, that hair on fire pass rush out of them. When Philadelphia, what was it, set the single season sack record 2 seasons ago, it was because those guys were always fresh. They were always raring to go to get after the passer. So I think that's part of Jordan Reed's thought process here with Dennis Sutton. All right, let's take it to Dallas, and Evan Stewart is the selection here, and I think this one makes sense. If I'm not mistaken, DK wasn't very high on Evan Stewart, but I like Evan Stewart. I think he certainly gets stronger, but he's to me he's a difference maker. I think he's a good receiver. What are your thoughts on him, Drew?
Yeah, I think he is, and I think he's a guy you have to key on because if you're going to leave him one-on-one with the nickel, the safety, you or maybe even sometimes the corner, you're asking for trouble because that boy is quick, fast, and he's in a hurry, right? And so you just and then you match him up with Tez Johnson as well. I mean, I said last week. What did I say last week? I said Evan Stewart might be. Did I say it last week? Well, I'm gonna say it even if I didn't say it. That is this the Troy Franklin replacement right here, right?
Yeah.
And I believe Evan Stewart got a little bit more physicality to him, right, than a Troy Franklin. But I guess we'll find out here this season.
I think in terms of the release, yes. I think definitely in terms of the release, Jordan Reed cited here that only 27 of his 514 receiving yards came after contact last season. So that doesn't suggest phicality after the catch. But certainly in his release, I think he's more advanced.
The release, that's what I meant. You're right.
Than Franklin was. Yeah. It fell apart at A&M. It fell apart. It absolutely fell apart. I think when Evan Stewart was healthy and they had competent quarterback play, he was a problem, bro.
Yep.
He was a problem. Like, we talked about a couple seasons ago, we thought Anais Smith was going to be this world beater, right? Still a good football player, but we thought he was the man. And then, of course, here comes Evan Stewart. We're like, oh,
that's the guy.
Moose Muhammad. Yeah. Moose Muhammad. Yes. Connor Weigman. Yeah, I'm with you there, DK. That hurt him. That absolutely hurt him. And Moose Muhammad was a guy that we really liked, and we thought, okay, Moose Muhammad, that's Moose's kid. He nice out there. And then Evan Stewart, I was like, oh, okay. There's levels. There's levels to this thing. You understand what I'm saying? So I think Evan Stewart's a big get for Oregon. Big get for Oregon. Assuming they certainly have the talent, you know what I'm saying, on paper at the quarterback position as Bo Nix has moved on. in order to get him the football, push the football down the field, take advantage of his skill set. But I think just in terms of the landing spot here in Dallas makes sense. Brandon Cooks, I believe, is going into the last year of his deal. We don't know what Dallas is doing at the quarterback position. I think they're just going to let Dak play it out, and they're going to reset.
Well, they're going to have to. They don't let Jared Goff get his contract. Let all his quarterbacks get their contract, and then now you don't price yourself out the damn market, bro.
I'm of two minds on that one. Because it's like, all right, and it's good and bad, right? Dallas has proven to be cheap. And over the last 5-10 years or so, Dallas has proven to be pretty cheap. And but in the same breath, do you allow the market to force your hand if you don't think you have the guy at quarterback? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Makes sense. So while it's not a popular position to be in, and certainly some of your behaviors from a contract perspective over the last half a decade to a decade leaves people scratching their heads like, bro, you're just cheap. You understand what I'm saying? You're not in the free agency. You're not pushing your chips to the middle of the table and going for it. But if you don't think Dak Prescott is the guy to get you over the hump, then you probably shouldn't pay him $200+ million. You probably shouldn't do that, bro, if you don't think he's that guy. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it seems counterintuitive, but drawing that line in the sand in terms of, well, we've had some really good teams around you, and we thought that we were good enough, and maybe this is the wrong thinking. Maybe it's the wrong thinking, but we thought we were good enough to compete, get to a conference championship. Maybe we get hot and make a run, right? And it hasn't happened. We just haven't been successful in the playoffs, right? When the pressure is at its highest, Dak has shrunk. He's kind of come back to the mean a little bit. I'm not going to blame this last playoff exit solely on Dak Prescott, right? They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. You understand what I'm saying? But there are times, especially when we get into postseason play, where you're expecting him to rise to the occasion. And if you're not that guy, or you don't appear to be that guy, you know what I'm saying? Then I can understand why they would say, you know what? It's just unfortunate because they put themselves in a position where they can't really do much of anything with their roster. On top of that, CeeDee Lamb is going to be slated for a contract extension. Michael Parsons is going to be slated for a contract extension. And they're cheap. So, somebody's not going to get paid. Somebody's not going to get paid. That being said, an Evan Stewart type, another element to their receiving room certainly is warranted at this juncture. They need more firepower in Dallas. Buffalo Bills, they go back to the receiving room here with Isaiah Bond. So if I recall, earlier this week, MVS signed with the Bills, right? They went with Keon Coleman. They've added Curtis Samuel. Mac Hollins is there. Of course, I maintain that the offense or the passing game needs to flow through Dalton Kincaid. So, interesting group. But I think, and of course, Khalil Shakir there, I think he certainly can take a step as well. Adding Isaiah Bond to the mix, what do you think about that? That's some different kind of explosiveness now, based on what they have currently on that roster.
Yeah, it's a nice element to add. I mean, a guy here, quick twitch, short area, quickness in and out of his breaks, easy speed to burn, tracks the ball very well down the football field, can contort his body to adjust throws. Guy here, if you're going to let him have a free release, you're asking for trouble as he eats up space, and he separates at the top of the route. Routinely works on being in the blind spot of the defender, so he's got some skill or subtleness to his game to kind of settle into that spot. No fear to go over the middle of the field. And some of the negatives I got, he's not a guy who's going to win the 50-50 balls. He's not going to turn a poorly thrown ball into a catch at times. And he's a reckless runner, man. I've seen times where there's space and he's running into people. Like, I'm not sure what he's seeing. I need you to kind of.
I need you to see it. I need
you to see it, man. You too fast for that to happen, bro. So, you're not one of those guys who's going to run through people and all that kind of stuff. So, got to tighten that part up about his game. But, yeah.
Springy explosive,
yep.
Right? So, I think Sark certainly got a good one here. The kid,
that's the Xavier Worthy replacement.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Missy Preston, that was a terrible contract, by the way. Terrible contract. What was it? 6 years, 90 million. And his best football was already behind him. Like
that's a Jerry
awful
contract if I ever seen one, bro.
I think Jerry was being a fan. I think he was trying to substantiate the fact that he took him 4th overall in 2016, and he was being a fan. You understand what I'm saying? And now he's having to be a GM and make some very hard decisions. And I think they did a pretty decent job in terms of addressing the offensive line in particular. They added some good football players in this draft. I think next year we'll see them add the points, right? The explosiveness, the weapons, and ultimately a quarterback. Because I don't think that's going to be back beyond 2024. But we shall see. All right. The Bengals go with your guy here, Tyler Booker. This is the top interior offensive lineman in your mind. Is that correct, Drew?
Yeah. Currently it is. And let me see. I got some notes on them. Let me see if I can find them right quick. Got it in a different place. Hold up. Oh, come on. What I got for Tyler Booker? It says really quick in pass pro sets, good mover in the run game, pulling and getting to second level, better when reaching and moving versus straight up. So might have some work to do there, but I think he is the best interior offensive lineman, and you'll see him in most mocks coming off the board at some point, usually in the latter half of the draft, which makes sense. So, and I know how we feel about your boy Cordell Volson. So,
oh yeah, you know how I feel about that one. Any and everything to protect Joe Burrow. And as you mentioned, I expect, we're talking about way too early 2025 mock drafts, but this is one of those picks that I expect to kind of remain intact. You know what I'm saying? Latter parts of the first round, Tyler Booker, plug and play, 8 to 10 years. Forget about it. That kind of thing, right? Ashton Gillette, edge out of Louisville here to Detroit. So Lions going back to that defense, trying to get it right, trying to get it right. You know what I'm saying? I thought in my mind's eye, Darius Robinson would end up in Detroit. It didn't work out that way. It ultimately didn't work out that way, but certainly kind of similar type of player. You understand what I'm saying in terms of reducing down and passing down situations, playing on the edge on early down situations, plays with that kind of same type of physicality. What do you think about Gillette out of Louisville?
I'm not familiar with his game, man, so I don't know.
Okay.
But if we're saying he's similar to Darius Robinson, I mean,
not quite as big, not quite as big, but there's certainly some similarities, some parallels in their play style there. So I think in terms of that physicality, that temperament, it certainly works with Detroit. Feel fully confident. I wonder, and I want to pose this question to Drew. Would you go with Landon Jackson? Not understanding that you're not necessarily familiar with Gillette just yet, which we will make sure that we get that taken care of. I know you like Landon Jackson, so let's talk about him a little bit.
That's I don't think he's a 5-star guy. It's a guy who's coming from LSU, transferred over to Arkansas, and he's extremely productive. He's a technician. When you watch the tape, he was dummying Alabama. Proctor, Pritchett, didn't matter who was out there. He was doing work on those guys, and this would be a good fit. They kicked him inside at times too, to be cute and whatnot. But I like him purely on the edge. I don't like him inside. I think that his home should be on the edge because of his ability to set offensive linemen up, kind of keeps them off balance, keeps some boys on their heels. So yeah, I like Landon Jackson a lot, and as long as he's not a 5-star guy, I'm stamping him.
So of course, Landon Jackson was the next selection here to Baltimore. I think it's an area of the team that they want to continue to ensure that they have a certain level of depth for that quality rotation up front. You alluded to Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham's running mate there in the interior defensive line in Michigan. What are your thoughts on Graham? Do you think he could eclipse Mason Graham in the hearts of mock drafters, NFL draft evaluators?
Yeah, I think he can. And those guys, he's going to get the opportunity this year. But I got strong hands, holds up well in the run game. It was hard to move. picks his spots with initial quick step, mixes that well with his hands. So he's got a good combination of moves and in combination with his legs in terms of that quickness and keeping offensive linemen kind of, I don't say off balance, but just kind of eyes wide open type of thing. And there is no Chris Jenkins, so you're definitely going to see more run from both Mason and Grant here. So yeah, so it's the boys going to get a little bit more work, and so we're going to be able to actually see these guys a lot more this season. But I ain't mad at the pick to Kansas City Chiefs, though. I ain't mad at it at all.
All right. And the final selection here in Jordan Reed's way too early 2025 mock draft is Walter Nolan, or Ole Miss. Of course, he's a transfer from Texas A&M. Highly decorated high school recruit. At times he's dominant. At times you see the flashes, right? You see why he was so, highly thought of. Of course, he came in as one of those, ridiculously ranked prospects in that area where Texas A&M clearly was winning the NIL game, but it just didn't work out. It didn't work out in Texas A&M. It didn't translate to wins, and a lot of those guys have moved on. We talked about Evan Stewart earlier. Walter Nolan, he lands at Ole Miss. What do you think about his game?
Yeah, man. You know that church song, "I Shall Not Be Moved." That's him, bro. Like he's a straight up wall, man. Like you can't.
You done broke out the hymns. You done broke out the hymns,
man,
bro.
You know what I'm saying? The Gospels, bro. I got to do what I got to do here, man. But he played nose tackle at A&M, and you see why he was playing in the spot he should have been playing in, right over the center there. See, I got here giving him some space and opportunity. He can convert his speed to power and surprise the offensive lineman. So another, I think I said it 3 guys in a row that kind of keep offensive linemen off balance there. And if you can do that in the middle of the offensive line, man, you cause a lot of disruption. You turn plays, away from where they're supposed to go. You back things up. You can have offensive linemen, stepping on the quarterback's toes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Walter Nolan, we keep talking about the defensive tackles, and I think you've said it previously, Juice, in the previous live we had is defensive. This thing's gonna be deep, bro. It looks like, you know what I'm saying, with all the players here, and you said it before in terms of Ole Miss, they got a stick, bro. That's a team to fear in the SEC.
That's another one.
So get ready.
That's another one. That's another one. No problem, fearfully confident. That's what we're here for. Appreciate you tuning in. Dana, happy Friday. Yeah. Was Shamar Stewart in the same recruiting class or the year before, year after? When he the top recruit in one of those classes? Yeah, A&M had they were getting all the number ones. They basically said, you know what, we're just gonna go with whoever's ranked the highest and bring them
Turner.
Yeah,
Shamar Turner.
Shamar Turner. There you go.
I think he might have been number one, whatever class he came in at. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking Travis Hunter, right? Of course.
Okay.
I think Turner might have been number 2 or in that class, what have you. But yeah, Walter Nolan, like you said, one of those immovable objects. And I think it's significant, right? One of the things that we've talked about over the last couple of seasons is that transition, right? It's coming. Keep your eyes peeled. Offenses are going to start rolling that fullback out again. You got all these 220-pound linebackers running around, and they don't know what to do with lead blockers. Absolutely. Now, Perkins is a different kind of animal. But my point is that teams have been building their defenses, playing with a nickel look, right? So that it's already a light box because they're trying to defend the pass. But things are cyclical in the NFL, right? And if you're going to continue to kind of run that light box, you're going to need the likes of a Walter Nolan or Deion Walker to be able to hold up at the point of attack and give you a fighting chance. Because the moment you add a third linebacker or you start dropping that safety down, the teams are going to take advantage of your single high. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to go over the top. So being stout at the point of attack is going to it's going to vault back up the list in terms of priorities for these NFL teams, because I think really and truly what we'll see over the next several seasons is more power, right? More 2-back sets. You know what I mean? You even see it from Kansas City. Kansas City is as multiple as they come, bro. as multiple as they come. You know what I mean? And that's their ability. Of course, you got to give Andy Reid a lot of credit. Their ability to keep you off balance and use your weakness against you. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, this is if you need to get interior defensive lineman, even if you don't, like kind of like how this 2024 class was like, just get you a receiver, man. They're so talented. Just get you one, even if it's not a big priority. I think this defensive line group certainly, and as we get into it, it may actually be deeper than we even imagined to this point. But it's a very talented group, right? And that those first 2 downs and in order to hold up at the point of attack, I think it's significant. You got these teams like the Niners and stuff, man, getting 5-6 yards a pop, and they gotta bring that to a stop, man. You can't have that. You on your heels. You cannot have that. You know what I'm saying? That bend but don't break. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like letting the offense march down the field and like, okay, well, they're in the red zone now. The field has shrunk. Let's hold them to 3. I don't like it. I don't like it. I need to get off the field on 3rd down, man. I need you in 3rd and long, which means I need to win on 1st and 2nd. You understand what I'm saying? And I think in order to do that, you got to have guys up front who can hold up at the point of attack. All right. That's going to do it for Jordan Reed's way too early 2025 mock draft. I had planned to do the PFF mock draft, but I think we're going to have to save it. I think we might have to save it, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's getting late. And you're on mute.
Damn, bro. My bad. I'm looking at it right now, bro. There's a couple of different players in here that's gonna kind of shake it up, be a little bit different. So PFF they do it by the numbers, right?
Yes.
So it's always a little bit different, and I like that. Oh, they got my guy in here too. Okay.
It really did, D-Kid. It snuck up on me. I'm like, wait, what? 2 hours already?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
it's quarter to midnight. What? It did sneak up. So I do want to save it. I do want to save it because this was a really good conversation. Of course, another week gives us another opportunity to really delve into these prospects. If you want to take a peek, I don't recommend it, but if you want to take a peek, we'll be taking a look at PFF's way too early mock draft. I think we're going to go through a few teams as well in terms of their prospects, get into this summer scouting, and react, mock the mock there for PFF, see what they have to say about it.
You want to start? Well, I don't know if it's going to take 2 hours that next time, but maybe we start with Ohio State since they got. No, that's
good. That's a good place to start. We can start. We can start in the Big Ten. Let's go Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State.
Penn State. Okay.
We'll go with those 3. We'll review the players there. Mississippi Brasky asks, who's our favorite players all time from our schools? Man.
Mine's easy. I just got a hard one, but mine's Percy Harvin, bro. That might be the best football player in college football.
Percy Harvin is a special football player, bro. Special football player. It's a bit tougher for me. It is a bit tougher for me. But I gotta go with my guy, bro. It's Ed Reed, bro. It's Ed Reed. It's Ed Reed, bro. It really is Ed Reed, bro.
You got a lot, bro. You got Andre Johnson.
Listen, I was a big Andre Johnson fan. You know who I was the biggest fan of, bro? Edgerrin James, bro. That was my guy, bro.
Yeah, that was your guy.
Give me Edgerrin James, bro.
Clinton Portis, Frank Gore,
man.
Willis McGahee,
Big McGahee, Reggie Wayne,
bro.
Man, come on, man. Vilma, DJ Wood, man, come on.
Bro.
But no, my favorite, Sean Taylor. I didn't even mention Sean Taylor. My favorite Hurricane was Ed Reed. That was my favorite Hurricane.
Special.
Prime. I get it. I get it. I get it. My favorite Seminole. People always look at me weird, but you can't tell me nothing. No. I respect Shotgun Charlie now. Don't get me wrong, but my favorite Seminole is Greg Jones, bro.
Oh yeah, we need to find a play, bro.
It will. We'll pull it up. We'll pull it up next week. It will always be Greg Jones, bro. Greg Jones is a man, bro.
He was.
Peter Ward was nice. He was nice.
What happened to Peter? He got hurt, right? He got hurt coming into the league. Is that what happened?
It's before that you could recover from an ACL. At that time, it was a death. It derailed your career. Yeah, for sure. Tescaden Cortez, of course, because he played for Seattle. I get it, Mississippi Brasky. And then Percy Harvin also played for Seattle. So I get it. and Corey Dillon. Yeah, Corey Dillon was a bad boy too. That was a bad boy. Yeah, Washington. Let me think. I got one for you. It's just the guy that always comes to mind first. It probably is. So I like Lawyer Malloy. I like Lawyer Malloy, but Napoleon Kaufman, Mr. Brasky, when I was a Jet. Napoleon Kaufman was my guy. Yeah, I think he got picked by the Raiders and then he went into ministry, if I'm not mistaken. I think he went into ministry, so he didn't really have much of an NFL career. But I like Napoleon Kaufman a lot. The Gators, naturally, it would be Emmett, but I didn't really see Emmett in college, so I won't go there.
So Freddie T, I like Freddie T. That's a good one. That's probably number 2 for me.
I respect Freddie T. That's Headley's guy, Freddie T. That's his favorite Gator. His favorite Kane is Reggie Wayne, and then of course Prime. Damn. I used to go with Curse a lot. Jerome Brown. Ooh. It's so many, bro. Russell Maryland. It's so many, bro. Man. We need to get back to that. Anyway, let me think about this Gator.
Well, while you do that real quick, Dana, if you had to pick one, if you had to pick a school, what school would you pick? Currently, I guess we could say currently.
Dana, you run a La Tech on the EA college football game, because that's coming out July 19th, by the way. And I'm trying to organize a dynasty league. So whoever with it, get at us.
We don't play the games. We just
we recruiting.
It's all about the recruiting.
There's transfer portal. There's NIL. Let's get it. Let's get it.
La Tech. I like it.
Like I said, I used to go with who I really like. I like Jack Rabbit, but Jack Rabbit didn't finish career at UF.
Nah. I'll still claim him though. If we can claim Dion, if we can claim Dion, then damn it, I'm gonna claim Jack Rabbit, right? So I don't know.
You know who it is? You know who it is, bro? It's Carlos Dunlap for me. It's Carlos Dunlap.
That's a good one.
I like Carlos Dunlap, bro. That was my guy for the Gators. Carlos Dunlap.
Okay.
There you go.
I like it.
Quentin Patton. Okay. I respect it.
Okay.
I respect it. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, folks. Derek Brooks. I mean, that's a baller. That's
it's a baller, but
he wasn't a guy. He wasn't a guy like that for us.
Until he got to the Bucks, that he kind of,
Favorite college football player of all time, Bo Jackson. I respect it. You know who? I'll tell you. And it's just, I guess it's nostalgic for me because it was at the time where I was a bigger football fan than I actually am now. So mind you, we have a whole company that covers football media, right? But I was a bigger college football time at the time. I loved growing up. You talk about college football players, running back position, Byron Hanspard, bro. Texas Tech, bro.
Wow.
Remember when he and Troy Davis had both ran for 2,000 yards in the mid-90s, bro? Yeah, I think he went into ministry too. I'm like, what's with the running backs going into ministry, bro?
But say this ain't it, bro.
Tote the pill, bro. And now Michael Penix. D-Kid's still hurt. D-Kid's still hurt, man.
Hurt.
Oh, man, you got to let it go, D-Kid. It's going to take some time, though. It's still fresh. I understand. All right, folks. We're going to call it an evening. We'll be back next week. As I mentioned, we'll be going over prospects from the Ohio State Buckeyes, Michigan Wolverines, and Penn State Nittany Lions. And we'll also cover a way too early mock draft here, PFFs. We're going to mock the mock. So we'll be back next week. We'll see you then.